Since the year 1880, the Earth's average surface temperature has increased by almost 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit. In turn, sea levels have risen, disease is spreading more easily, and in less than 25 years, the polar ice caps are expected to be completely melted. This phenomenon of the Earth becoming hotter has been appropriately named global warming. But how does this happen, and who is responsible? What kind of evil monster has done this to our precious Earth? The answer is us, humans. So what is global warming? Global warming is an increase in the Earth's atmospheric temperatures due to an excess of greenhouse gases. These gases, like carbon dioxide and water vapor, build up in our atmosphere and trap the sun's heat, keeping it close to Earth instead of allowing it to reflect. The excess amounts of these gases are directly related to the poor way that humans are treating our Earth. The theory of global warming was first developed by a Swedish scientist, although the origins of climate change began many years before. It all started around 300 BC, when philosopher Theophrastus observed that human activity can cause a change in temperature in certain areas. For example, when a marsh was drained, the surrounding areas became cooler because of the lack of water vapor. Then, hundreds of years later, scientist John Baptista van Helmont discovered that one of the byproducts of burning charcoal is a release in carbon dioxide. This meant that many years later, with the coming of the Industrial Revolution, huge amounts of carbon dioxide will be released into the atmosphere. Then in the 1820s, French mathematician named Jean-Baptiste Joseph Fourier hinted that the atmosphere was becoming warmer, and his idea was backed up by John Tyndall, who showed that gases like carbon dioxide and water vapor can trap heat. All of this led to Svante Arrhenius's discovery of what is truly causing the increase of our Earth's temperature. Human activity, such as burning fossil fuels, causes greenhouse gases to build up in Earth's atmosphere. As the atmosphere thickens with more greenhouse gases, more heat is held in. Fossil fuels such as oil, coal, and natural gas are high in carbon and, when burned, produce huge amounts of carbon dioxide, or CO2. A single gallon of gasoline, when burned, releases 19 pounds of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Since the Industrial Revolution, when humans began burning fossil fuels to create energy, almost 500 billion tons of carbon dioxide have been released into the atmosphere. This steady increase in greenhouse gases is the direct cause of global warming. Global warming greatly affects both biotic and abiotic parts of the environment. Due to the increase of the Earth's surface temperature, ice in the Arctic regions has begun to melt. This causes sea temperatures to rise and makes floods much more common. Life in those regions, including polar bears, are quickly losing space to live. Limited space creates an increase in population density, which allows disease to spread easily and creates a conflict for limited resources. In addition, ocean water temperatures are increasing, not only on the surface, but up to 1,500 feet below. This affects much of the sea life, like coral in the Great Barrier Reef. In fact, the death toll of oceanic coral has been the highest in over 35 years. Other abiotic factors affected include an increase in irregular weather patterns. As the Earth's temperature increases, the rate of evaporation also goes up. This causes an increase in precipitation, which is difficult for many plants and animals to adapt to. Lastly, the increased temperature allows bacteria to thrive, making disease much easier to spread. Today, humans are banding together to halt the impending danger brought by global warming. The Kyoto Protocol is a global treaty that requires industrialized countries to cut their emission of greenhouse gases by 5.2%. Some developing countries, such as India, Brazil, and South Africa, had no restrictions on their emission, but were strongly encouraged to create policies that supported green growth in their industry. Many countries went above and beyond the requirements, cutting their emission rates by almost 30%. However, the Kyoto Protocol has yet to be signed into effect in both China and the United States, meaning there is no limit to our emissions. In fact, there are no actual laws regarding the prevention of extreme climate change in the U.S. There are two realistic changes that we can make to reverse the damage that we have inflicted upon our Earth. The first is obviously creating an international treaty that is able to be accepted by all countries. The Kyoto Protocol was rejected in certain areas, but if we were able to make all countries on Earth reduce their emissions, we could stop the effect that humans have on our Earth. A second idea to limit the amount of carbon put into the atmosphere would be to bury it. When major industries or factories need to get rid of the byproducts by burning fossil fuels, we could store the carbon dioxide underground. The gases could remain safely underground, and the amount of carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere would diminish greatly. Global warming's effect is spread throughout Earth, from the deepest depth of the sea to the highest point. From the discovery of human-caused climate change to the present day, we have learned many things about our quickly heating world. The toll that global warming takes on our Earth is huge, including melting the ice caps, causing erratic weather changes, and promoting the spread of disease. It largely affects both biotic and abiotic factors in our world, and will continue to do so unless we as humans can pull together and fight it. Global warming is directly caused by us, therefore it is our responsibility to put an end to the negative effects it has on our planet.